If you're struggling to attract the right people, getting ghosted by candidates, or just tired of recruitment draining your time, then today's episode is for you. Today, I'm joined by Laura, a recruitment agent, to unpack what candidate experience really means, what's changed in the hiring market, and why working with an agency might matter more than ever.
Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast, the show for clinic owners who want real, honest advice and tried and tested ways of doing things. I'm Katie Bell, and this is the new era of bigger insights and bolder conversations to help you grow a clinic and a life you love. Let's dive in. Hello, Laura. Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Excited to be here, Katie.
I'm excited to have you on because we had a lovely conversation at Therapy Expo. In fact, we could have probably chinwagged over wine for the majority of the day. But we'd actually got work to do, so we couldn't.
Yeah, okay. We'll just book another time in a public house. That's what we'll do.
Absolutely. That sounds marvellous. Laura, for everybody listening, tell everybody where you're from, what you do, why they need to listen to this episode.
Okay, so we are Recruit therapists. It's predominantly myself that anybody would be speaking to, particularly on a new client side of things. I'm the one that's going to onboard new clients, and then there's myself and there's my right-hand woman, Billy, and we're going to be both between us, the people that would be sending across CV submissions, getting to know the client, getting to know the candidates. But predominantly what we recruit for is any allied health professional, particularly MSK sector. That is our sort of known area. Yeah. And our client base is made up of private clinics, some private hospitals, but again, our bread and butter is our private clinics, anything from small independent clinics up to multi-sites. And we have now got permanent and locum desk as well. So if people need somebody for maternity cover, if it's going to be a quick turnaround of we need somebody for next week for 2 weeks cover of illness, we can do it. It's not what we promise. So one thing about us is that we're very transparent. If we don't think we can help you, then we're not going to waste your time with things either.
Yeah, amazing. And you seem to be in a sector that is like one of the biggest challenges right now for clinics in our industry is the hiring. It's the hiring, it's finding people. And it's weird, Laura, because a part of me thinks there's a lot of people leaving the NHS. There's a lot of people very unhappy in their roles there. So I think, where are these people going? Because a lot of clinics saying I'm struggling to find people. My experience is there isn't, I think in some sectors there is a lack of people, but we get a lot of great people wanting to come and work with us.
Yeah.
But I think clinicians who are business owners, but still class themselves as clinicians, have a way of hiring that is like a one-time stick a job ad out and hope that you're going to be flooded with all these people. And the reality of it is your recruitment is like an ongoing thing. You're never done with recruitment, are you? And you're in this kind of now, I guess, this place where I'm sure you are extremely busy trying to serve all these people that we need more people. We're all growing companies, we're all growing businesses. We need great people. But our hiring process is so dreadful.
Yeah.
And we also lack the time and the capacity to be able to really hire well. And that's where you come in. Is that what you're seeing in the industry as well, Laura?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've hit on so many key problems that a clinician or a clinic owner is facing right now. They haven't got the time, they haven't got the resources. There's advertising campaigns you need to be so on top of. But actually, Katie, what I say very transparently to the clinics when the clinic owners, that I speak to on an intro call, what are you doing at the moment, Bob the physio? How are you recruiting? Oh, I pop an advert on Indeed. That's the trusty one. But the applications that are coming through just aren't what they used to be. Now, I've been doing this in this sector for 3.5 years that we started Recruit therapists. Before that, I think that was maybe a very different story because I've got living proof of clinicians that I'm speaking to saying, that used to work and it doesn't now. What we do very differently is this is our full-time job. This is what we do day in, day out, all the night through. We are networking. Okay. So we're building a database of people that I've been working with candidates since I started this agency. Still haven't placed them, but that's because I know what they're waiting for and I haven't found the right thing for them. I'm not just going to throw them at a job and go, what about this one? And hope that it connects because they've told me what they want. And I'm waiting for that right client to come along where I go, that's a match. So that's 3 years of me WhatsApping people, giving a call. How's Freddie, your son? How's your dog, Jim? It's that building of a relationship that we have that clinicians absolutely do not have the time to have. It's good to have that LinkedIn presence. It's good to be active, but you can't just expect now to put an advert out and get the candidates that you want. You'll get inundated with candidates. They're not the ones you want. Trust me, we get hundreds of them daily. We all know the ones we're talking about where I'm like, you're not in this country or you've not got the UK experience. All of the clients I represent, literally I can think of all of them, would say to me, UK experience is an essential. I cannot offer sponsorship. That's another red flag for them. So it's our job, mine and Billy's, to go, right, who do we have? Who have we already established those network with? And who can we put forward that's the right match? It's vital that we're able to do that and have the time, because that's our job.
And Laura, we had a conversation pre-Christmas because we needed your help to place in our clinic. And you said that, I was like, I didn't even know that this was a thing. You said, I have access to people that may have provided me with their CV or whatever their thing, their intent, that I'm not that happy with the job that I'm in. I would be open to other options or opportunities, but they don't necessarily want to be out there visibly applying for new roles. So you've got access to people that are like under the radar that would be like, oh, this is an opportunity that was just come up. Would you like to look at it? And I was like, that's great, because we don't have access to any of those people.
No. And as an agency, we pay a small mortgage for that access. It's once you've then connected, then again, that rolls into, we're now networking with them. We're familiarizing that they know to come to us should they see something that we put out. But who in their right mind really says, actually, it's January, I've got January blues, I don't want to go back to my current role anymore. I'm going to pop that on LinkedIn that I'm open to opportunities, because they're still being hired. That doesn't go down well with bosses. And it is a life cycle thing. People do move on for different varying reasons. It doesn't always have to be for negative. But I know when I was back in the day, when I was job hunting, I didn't want to be out there advertising that I'm looking. It makes you feel awkward and morally wrong and put yourself in a sticky situation when you're actually working with the current employer. So yes, we absolutely do pay an arm or a leg to have that access to people that you guys wouldn't see.
Absolutely. And I think the other challenge that I know we've had, hence why I then rang you, is we put an ad on Indeed and various other places, and we get this barrage of people who aren't even qualified in the thing that we're advertising, which is wild to me. But you have to sift through them. And actually what then happens, Laura, and I have a big clinic, I have infrastructure, I have a business manager, I have client care team, I have lots of people that could do that stuff. They're also really busy. So they go, oh, I don't really want to, I haven't got the bandwidth to put that job ad out yet because I'm just not ready for 100 applications that I'm going to have to work through. So then we're delaying our recruitment, which then impacts our revenue and our profit margins. And we are in a position right now in the clinic where we really need people. Like we've had people accept roles and then not take them because they've relocated or the house hasn't completed, all these reasons that we are not in control of. But with you guys, when you've got an agency assisting you and helping you with this sort of stuff, you're not the ones having to sift through all of those applications and those CVs. You take that away from us, don't you? So it saves so much time.
Yeah. My key thing, a couple of key things when I started this, and the reason I left an agency I was with before was because I was very much felt pressured to fill a role. Okay. I'm a salesperson. This is my business. That is obviously my job to do that. But for me, it's long-term growth of my company. I want to make trusted placements, trusted relationships with candidates I work with and clients, so that then they can go, oh my goodness, Laura's amazing. Use that team. They're great. Or she couldn't fill that role actually, but I'll still come back to her because she did a great job. We just didn't find the right one at the time.
She didn't fill it with the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly. And so that to me is worth so much more long term than me going, oh, I've got a physio here, he's in your area and he wants a job and you want to hire, so let's somehow make up some cock and ball about how great they'd be. That to me is, I don't rebrand all agencies with that, but that is the general consensus that people come when they're talking to agencies. We've got this, should I say, estate agent, car salesman attachment as a recruitment consultant. And I wanted to make something very different. And to date, we've done well with that reputation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're still fairly small. We're a small team. There's 4 of us on board, really, but 2 of us actively doing the recruitment role.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to just have that knowledge that you are hiring someone to do all the stuff that you just don't have time for. And one of the key things, we were probably going to come on to this anyway, but the key things that people instantly go, oh my God, recruitment consultants, they charge a whop and I can do it myself. Can you afford to give that time for what that takes? Can you afford to network with all these people in the hopes that one day they might want to job hop and come to you?
And funnily enough, Laura, we to put some numbers on this to people who are listening, because they always like to hear the juicy details. I had we call it a same page meeting every week with my business manager. And actually, when we look at our revenue and our projections for this quarter, we will be just short of 30,000 short of last quarter. And it is only down to capacity issues. We have not got the person in the seat. He's starting on the 23rd of February, which has been in pipeline for absolutely months, but we haven't had the person. So this is because we needed you sooner, and we should have done this. We should have not tried to fix this problem ourselves, because we are then the barrier to the speed of hiring somebody. So actually, yes, there is a cost associated with working with a recruitment agency, quite right. But that's the impact that it's having on my clinic. If we'd outsourced this sooner, this probably wouldn't have been to the level that we are seeing within the clinic right now. And you're working on placing as a women's health physio, which is so hard to be like unicorn shit. You can't find them anywhere. Good ones. And so
unicorns that we call them,
Exactly. You've got to be so far ahead of your thinking in terms of recruitment, of what your business needs in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
And you need to start that process like now for 6 months' time, because we're going to come on to talk about a great experience for what candidates want to see and experience when they are being recruited and hired. But hiring too quickly is just the worst thing you can do. But equally, hiring too slowly in our position, because we haven't outsourced this soon enough, has had a huge impact.
And I think there's something to just for me to throw in there that's key. Some people have never used agencies before. This is like unknown territory, like what to expect, what's those fees look like. And I have that conversation with each client that I have and talk them through the different, it depends if they're perm hires or associates or locum. So it's very reflective of who I'm speaking to and what I can say. I can't just sit here and go, oh, it's X amount of money. That's for a physio of 3 years versus somebody of 10 years. It's really relative to who we're looking for. But a lot of people aren't aware that actually, Katie, that we're working for free, right? This is literally for free. We're doing our marketing costs for you, our adverts across the jobs boards. Anyone that is doing those, know those things cost money. Well, if you're just outsourcing that, going, Laura, you do it, that's not costing you anything. Even if we don't hire for you, that's our problem. That's the recruitment company's dream world of I might just be throwing cash away. But what you are paying for is when you've decided you found the right person. You're not paying for CVs being submitted to, you're not paying to interview them. It's literally a no-win, no fee is how I think is the easiest way to put this. You're only paying for that person when you go, absolutely, that's who I want to hire, and that person wants to join. That's when we say, okay, look, this invoice is coming your way now. You prepped, you know how much money that's going to be all in advance. It's not like we suddenly go, now you want to hire, now I'm going to tell you the price.
And you take them through so many processes, so many stages, so much better than we would do it ourselves, and in a much more timely way, that I would say generally, and I'm sure you'll say 9.99% of the 99.9% of the time, it's the right hire, they stay with you, and therefore the cost it isn't really a cost, it's an investment, because it would have taken you probably forever and never to find that person in the first place. And you're not paying unless that right person is in front of you and you're about to hire them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just hit the nail on the head there, Katie. You know, it's not a cost, it is an investment. For what you can gain in the time that you're saving, and what you can gain in the expenses that you would have to do independently that let's be honest, don't work. We put jobs on job boards to have a presence. 9 times out of 10, that's not where we make our hires from.
Yeah.
They're just having a presence, getting our name out there. So if it doesn't work for us, and that's our job, putting a job out and hoping to get some decent applications, it's few and far between that happens.
Yeah.
I think that's another way to look at it for sure.
So when I guess when you are looking for candidates that are about to come on board, that the hiring is one part of it, then you've got the onboarding. You're really particular in them having a great experience.
It's absolutely vital. So another thing that I think sets us apart is that we want to have a relationship with our clients. We want to get to know the culture, the DNA. I'm banging about those words, and I use vibe a lot. I actually hate that word, but I use it quite like the vibe of the company.
Yeah.
That people we're going to be sending them into. If I want to work there, great. It's so much easier for me to speak to a candidate and say, this is an epic company. This is why X, Y, Z. It's not just your bog standard. This is your salary. This is your X amount of pension sick days. It's so dull and boring. And that's not inspiring to go, oh my God, they're a great company. So it's really important that we have a really good understanding of the client and their culture, that we can then go sell that dream to the candidates that we speak to. It's also really important that we have as much of that information from the client themselves, not just from their website, but getting to know the personalities. This is not a tick box exercise of we need 5 years of MSK outside of NHS. We need them to have acupuncture. Yes, those things are important. Of course, they've got to be qualified to a degree. But if I'm coming to a client and I'm saying, this guy's only got 2 years, but my goodness, do you want to speak to this one? Because he is literally running through the DNA of what your company is.
Yeah.
I'm going to expect that client to trust me. And the ones that do are the ones that are, thank God, Laura, that you've done that, because I would never have considered them. So you're missing by just looking at it, you're missing so much. Because again, Billy and I are doing that for you. So we're screening the candidate. We personally interview each of the ones that we speak to. We are sending across information when we submit their CV. We're sending across why we like them, what's not so great. So we're instantly flagging up here's bits that might turn you off, actually. There's no point getting to a certain point further down and then going, oh, FYI, they want to move to Australia in a year. Let's address it head on now and future-proof stability that they're going to remain as far as we can hope. So once we've done all of that with personality check, communications, verbally, presence, how are they coming across? Then we're going to say, you need to see this one. And that, again, that's all time that is taken away from, they've already been pre-screened. They've already had an interview. Am I a clinician? Is Billy? No, we can't ask clinical questions, but no one in their right mind is going to want to just go, yeah, all right, I'll hire them just off the back of what I've said. They're going to want to do all the clinical side themselves. That then we can facilitate that if you want us to be involved with organising, if that's a Teams call, a face-to-face, and come in, do a practical skills test, all the things. We do all that legwork for you as well.
And it just saves so much aggro, so much time that you haven't got, which then results in that too fast to hire and mistakes being made. And then you've got a toxic person in your company that you're struggling to get rid of. And we've seen all of the changes to the HR employee regulations now, that it's becoming even more important that we get the right fit person, even harder to get rid of them. So this is also almost like a non-negotiable now, I think, for many clinic owners.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as I say, the majority of what we do is people looking for perm, longevity. And I get that. Nobody wants to go, well, here's an invoice from Laura and I know they're going to leave in a year. We're looking longer term. We know what our clients want, because I've really vetted in on or honed in on what it is they want. And I know what I need to go and look for. I'm not about throwing shit at a wall and hoping for the best to make a fee and make a deal. That's just not what we're about. And that's probably why we've been slow and steady approach rather than let's up an agency and let's make a buck or two. It's, again, that goes on long-term commitment from me and my team of keeping that client on board, keeping those candidates interested. And I think this comes full cycle, Katie, to what I think you was asking me about before, about candidate experience is just essential. So once we've done the screening things, we're then submitting those details to our client. Now, we've got clients that are so on it. And the difference between the success of placements or the success of the journey of even just interviewing. They might decide it's not for them, but the journey is still happening. And if a candidate isn't hearing from us,
the
only reason that's going to be is because we can't get in contact with the client, for example. We need to have that ongoing communication. Bob being client, we've sent information. What are your thoughts on this, Bob? He needs to come back and say no for X, Y, Z reason, or yes, please, I'd like to move to interview stage. Now, we've had clients where they've had to delay. I can't do it for another couple of weeks, or I'm thinking of this, I'll get back to you. Like, it makes us look rubbish as an agency because it's not just client that's our client. Our candidate is technically our client as well, because we're representing them. We're doing the best that we can. So if I'm going back to them going, do you know what? I can't get hold of Bob Physio right now. He's not come back to me. That doesn't instill much confidence in the candidate either, going, actually, I don't want to work for a company that's just not taking this seriously. They're saying, you've come to me, Laura, and said they want a physio. And I've said, okay, I'm interested. And now it's all gone off radar and what's it called? Ghosting. That's sometimes what we get. And I have to have serious conversations with clients to say, this communication isn't working. This is having a knock-on effect on your application. And after some time, we'll have nobody left to network with that's going to be interested, because guess what? I'm not. I don't want to represent a client that's pissing about, quite frankly.
And really, when you've almost taken all the legwork off the clinic owner and all of the other things that normally we would have to be doing, our job is to communicate quickly and efficiently to you. That is the one thing that we have to do in the hiring process, isn't it? Is respond to Laura's emails and say, yeah, that was great. No, that doesn't. Yeah, let's take them to the next stage. And I think maybe it was one of your top tips that we were discussing before we came on the podcast live, was don't leave too much length of time between all of your phases. And I think, interestingly, I had a text message, WhatsApp conversation with one of our Ascend members, which is our big clinic owners, just last night, and they'd had 2 really great positive candidates that had applied for the role. And then between them applying and them being invited in for a day of shadowing, both of them had accepted another role. And I said, and she said, you know what, I'm gutted. What shall I do about it? And I wonder, I don't know, but I wonder if those 2 phases, because of Christmas as well, I get it, will have been too long to make that happen. They'll have cooled off. They'll have maybe had, because often they do have a few different jobs, don't they? People often have different things that they might be looking at. And I said, pick up the phone to them. Pick up the phone and say, absolutely gutted to have missed out on this opportunity. Would love some feedback. Would love to understand why you've made the decision to go and work for whoever it is, because that's going to guide you in terms of how you move forwards. And I'm going to guess, Laura, that the biggest problem was there was too big a gap between being hot lead and then the next stage. And would you agree that's something that...
Completely agree. And I think that's really good advice, because actually it might just be that phone call where they go, I'm really sorry for that delay. And that person's gone, actually, you've warmed him up again now, because I really like that you've personally approached me to say that I'm gutted I've missed you. But that window of opportunity, honestly, if the longer it goes on, and I'm not talking like an expectation to have sent a CV and hired by the next week. It doesn't, in our sector, that's just not reality. People are working, they need to take time off for interviews. But the longer that gap is, you're losing them. Day by day, you're losing them. And so are we then, effectively. And so if there's something that me and Billy can also do, it's whereby we direct and say, look, this one is being interviewed, whether it's through our agency or they're doing it independently. We know that they're interviewing XYZ dates coming up. That's a big fat clue to say we need to move fast on this. Because if they get offered and it's a great offer, actually 9 times out of 10, they're going to go, yeah. There's only a few that go, I'm going to hold off, because they don't want to lose that offer by saying, I have got an interview coming in. I don't know when that's going to be. It might be in 3 weeks. Well, the company that's just offered, that puts them off them. It's this rolling chain that people aren't thinking long term, how is this affecting something? A knock-on effect for everything.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm just thinking about if somebody was keeping me bubbling as the employer, here's the job offer, love you, but you're not coming back to me. I'd be thinking they're playing me off here with other, and maybe we're not the most. I want somebody to come work for me and go, I want this job, like I'm in.
And I do get that. What I would say on that side of things is sometimes I speak to clients and they'll say that they're interviewing somewhere else. I'm not a top priority. And I'm like, people need to have options still.
Absolutely.
We're humans. We all want to work out what one is best for us. And just because a certain clinic isn't held as the high almighty one, this is the one I absolutely want. People have different personalities and they just want to know risk reward, what each situation is, rather than just following my heart and going, they're amazing. What's all the other factors that this person needs to think about? So again, that's us educating our clients that we speak to say, look, you're being unreasonable. Or, I see what you're saying, but look at it from this perspective. That's all the conversations I have with my clients as well. I like to be very like, I'm here to listen to you, but I'm also here to advise you from my professional perspective.
From doing it for years, I'm really understanding how this works. What else would you say is really important when it comes to the candidate experience? Is it important, obviously, that you have good timely communication, but what about when they like actually start and their onboarding experience?
So again, some agencies have we filled the placement off your pop, never to be seen again. We're very much about checking in with the candidates that we've just placed. How's that going? There's a rebate period as well, okay? And the true transparency, we want to ensure that they are happy and safe, because there's anything coming up, if there's any flags to come up where they're suddenly not happy or something's happened, we want to know about it. Let's nip it in the bud before anything. How can we fix it? And that's my job, to represent candidate if they've got a problem, or client on that side, and be that middle person to go, something's not quite working, something's off, something's been said, whatever it is. Can help facilitate that. And 9 times out of 10, it's resolved. It's very few and far between, to be honest, that those things happen, luckily, because so much effort gets put in before making a placement to eradicate any of those potential issues. But things obviously happen. But in terms of another thing about candidate experience, yes, there's the onboarding thing, is checking in, is everyone okay, are they settled? But the onboarding experience in terms of the interview process as well, we run into some problems on that. And a lot of the time, obviously, we take the feedback from the client. They're not right. They didn't do great on their clinical scenario. That's all fine. Get that, no problem. A client doing a really formal interview process. Okay, I'm probably making a rod for my own back here. I'm not a big fan of that at all. Let's sit across the table at a desk and let's me fire you questions and you answer. That's so old school. Move on. Times have changed. That isn't inviting. I don't want to go and work there, so I certainly don't want to encourage somebody else to go and work there. Enjoyable work environment. Team. Is anyone else there to meet and greet? Come and have lunch with us in the staff room if you have one. Let's go for a coffee after and see, how did you think that went? Be inviting. Clients think a lot of the time, this is more old school, should I say, that they're there to choose the candidate. Actually, the candidate's there to choose who they want to work with as well. So it's this meet in the middle thing. Yes, you're going to be their boss, their employer, but you also need to be respectful and kind and welcoming. So it works both ways. And I think that's something that gets missed. Sometimes we've spoken to candidates that have come out and gone, oh, it was a bit not for me because, okay, why not because? Again, that's hard truths that I go back to a client and say, look, we've had this feedback. Some people don't want to hear it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Because you're just going to stay in the same situation without
really and then another candidate through to experience the same thing again. Like, why are we doing that? I just won't bring them to you.
There's so many elements to hiring and onboarding and recruiting that we've touched upon, Laura, that I guess most clinic owners forget because we're so busy, we're so time poor, and we just think it's as easy as sticking out on Indeed and great people, and they're going to want to come and work with us, and we do an outdated interview process and everything's just hunky-dory. And actually, that's never the case, is it? So I think for listeners listening into this, it's about really leaning into what your zone of genius is. And I always talk about, if you look at your day and you categorize every task that you do in your day into kind of 4 different categories, like your zone of genius is the stuff that you are absolutely hardwired, hot, great at doing. That is not, for most of us, recruitment. That is your zone of genius, Laura. So we really need to delegate and outsource these key things in our business, because otherwise we delay, we leave money on the table, we lose opportunities, and we don't grow at the pace that we want to grow because we're not outsourcing soon enough.
And
So how do they outsource? How do we get in contact? How do our listeners reach out to you, Laura, and just have a conversation?
Yeah. And I think that's a key thing that you've just hit on there.
Yeah.
Just a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not a pushy salesperson. If you want to use me, great. If you don't, then that's fine. If you need some just help and support with something, I am, again, make a profit my impact, just giving out like free. Yeah, that's it. I'm not going to teach you how to be a recruiter, obviously, because that's my job, but I can give hints and tips in the hopes that you remember me. And then you go in future, actually, Laura was really helpful. She didn't mean to do that, but that's how we've come to be what we are now.
Yeah.
So people can contact me through our website, which is recruittherapist.co.uk. On there, we'll have our contact numbers, our email addresses, but LinkedIn, WhatsApp, however people want to contact me, there's absolutely a way to do it. But just for that informal chat, this isn't me saying you need to use me as an agency. I'll just talk you through our fees, how we work, if that's not already been clear, and get to know what it is you're looking for as a client. Yeah. What is it that you are looking for? Can I help with that, first of all? Yes.
And that costs nothing, and there is no risk there. And I think that's the key, isn't it? This is a no-win, no-fee kind of arrangement. So think about the cost of not having this person in your business is far greater than the cost of outsourcing to you, who can then place the right candidate in a much more efficient timescale. Is a no-brainer in my eyes.
Yeah. And I think just something you mentioned earlier, if we'd have known that it was going to take this long, and the gap you've left there for the hire that's starting in Feb was too big a gap now in hindsight because you've missed X amount of revenue. If people just pick up the phone, send an email, get the ball rolling, because if you know you've got someone that's probably going to leave in summer, now's the time. Now's the time, not in June. Okay,
absolutely.
For summer. It's just not. You got to think.
Thanks for listening to the Treat Your Business podcast. Hit subscribe now and keep joining me for bigger insights, bolder conversations to help you build a clinic and a life you love.
People mostly have 3-month working notice periods now.
Yep.
So you've got to find them, network them, find them, interviews, hand your notice in. By summer, we're already cutting it fine.
Yeah, exactly. This is in the bridal industry, isn't it? When you go and you say, "Oh, can I have a wedding dress next year?" And they're like, "Oh, next year, 3 years before you have your wedding dress."
Exactly. That's a really good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Laura, thank you for giving up your very precious time. You are a super busy lady. I really appreciate you just giving some of your advice to our listeners about their recruitment challenges and struggles. And I really hope they do pick up the phone and just have a conversation with you.
I'd love that. And thanks so much for having me, Katie.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to the Treat Your Business podcast. Hit subscribe now and keep joining me for bigger insights, bolder conversations to help you build a clinic and a life you love.